Viewers, please excuse the fact that the lighting has now changed. It's coming into
perfectly
nighttime
on
here in the
topic.
UK.
Yeah.
Exactly.
See?
So we'll roll with it. We'll go with it. What are, in your opinion, the main factors contributing to the fact that sleep deprivation is at an all-time high in the developed world?
Yeah. So I would say that, interestingly, it comes from a stat out of the World Health Organization. In 2016, they reported that the average person is spending around 90% of their days inside. And this was, 2016, before a lockdown, before a lot of these other reasons why we might be now even more indoors. And the reason that is important is that we're much more akin to zoo animals at this point than our kind of evolutionary, from a ancestral perspective. We are very devoid of some of these rhythms of nature. And now that might sound like soft, like, who cares about that? But when we think of circadian rhythms and the strength of our circadian rhythm, that's this conversation of this 24-hour rhythm that as human beings, we are on every single day. We're diurnal creatures, meaning that we're meant to be active during the day and at rest at night. So with suddenly a missing of some of those cues that we've had for, thousands of years and have really run the show as far as keeping us on track, there's something known as our suprachiasmatic nucleus in our brain. That's our master clock that really keeps our, all the functioning of our body on track, from everything down to hormones to that sleep-wake cycle. And that master clock communicates with our peripheral clocks in virtually every cell of our body. So further keeping this time domain in check. So when we don't have these cues, some of the key cues now, it's known as Zeitgebers, which just means time givers, that tell the body what to do and when, because basically the body is always seeking out information around what time it is and what jobs does it need to be performing. And we're grateful for that. If you travel across the globe and you want to shift time zones, it would kind of stink if we always had to stay, directly on whatever, UK time versus Bangkok time versus whatever, right? Yeah. So we want to be able to have that flexibility, and that's amazing. But at the same time, that can pose its own problems when we are giving ourselves mixed cues. So what are the cues? The number one is light timing. That's the most impactful of all the time givers. And part of the reason for that is that our eyes are directly connected to that suprachiasmatic nucleus, that master clock that we mentioned. And so our eyes are actually, while we don't think of it necessarily, they are a part of an exposed part of our brain. And so when those eyes are exposed to light, that brings about a resetting of our master clock every single day. So if you are getting sporadic, or maybe sometimes maybe not going outside at all, but certainly sporadic timing of the exposure of that bright light, that is doing some real damage on keeping that clock in check and saying, okay, this is the start of the day, and then I'm going to release all these start of the day type hormones. So what we want to help create is this cortisol pulse in the first part of the morning, and then on the evening, shift to a very different lineup. So on the flip side of that light is darkness. So we want to have much, much more darkness than the average person has, and we want it to be aligned with those rhythms. And then there are more in alignment with that further kind of keep us on time. But that divorcing of nature, of connection to nature, seems to have brought about a lot of problems biologically.
Yeah. I've heard the point about light and sleep before. I don't know if you've heard the Huberman Lab podcast.
Yes, fantastic. Yeah.
It's a really good podcast. And Andrew Huberman is repeatedly hammering home this point in a lot of his episodes, where you need to wake up early in the morning. And there's something about the angle of the sun when it's at that point in the morning, that if you view light at that time of day, your body is able to register that that's the case.
Yes. I mean, I've got my little red light over here. It's infra-red light, and that's what's the type of light that's present in the early morning hours based on the stretching of the sun over the surface, the horizon. And that's giving us that full spectrum light that is both has blue light present, which, I know gets vilified a lot, but in the daytime, incredibly important. But when paired with infrared light and that full spectrum light, and so, you can pay good money to sit in front of an infrared light if you have psoriasis or eczema or what have you from a doctor and getting a prescription for it. But you can also have exposure to it by just getting outside in those early morning hours. And then it's also present in sunset as well.
Yeah. We can't work out what the situation was with this light. There's a lot of plugs plugged in. It's gone off. So we're just going to continue. So viewers, please excuse the fact that the lighting has now changed. It's coming into nighttime here in the UK. Yeah. Exactly.
See?
So we'll roll with it. We'll go with it.
I love it. See, now you're actually leaning into that circadian lens to your day.
Yes.
So
this was all planned.
Yes.
Ben had the lights on a timer to go off just at the right moment.